They are the most influential characters for the story behind Ryu, Goutetsu, master of the Ansatsuken arts, Gouki and Gouken, the yin and yang of Ryu's storyline. These three characters have their own set of ideals and principles, with their own individual characteristics. In this episode, join us as we delve into the story and origins of these amazing characters. What do these characters have in common? What is their purpose in the Street Fighter timeline? Without further ado, let me welcome you to the Street Fighter verse. Let's start today's episode with the meaning behind his name. Goutetsu's name comes from Street Fighter II, the animated movie, which was produced at the same time as Super Turbo, whereas the name given to Ryu and Ken's master. Capcom adapted the name Goutetsu for Gouken and Akuma's master, instead of being another name for Gouken. Goutetsu has many variants of his origin stories, and what is known of the master. In the more traditional story, Goutetsu was the martial arts master of Gouken and his brother Akuma, and was also a user of the Satsui no Hado, being the only known person who could use the power without falling into its darker aspects, possibly because he only used it sparingly and wisely. This was also how his two students were introduced to its power. Prior to the events shown in the Street Fighter games, Goutetsu was challenged and killed by Akuma, at his full potential, who performed the Shungokusatsu on his soul in a fight to the death. Goutetsu gladly died, happy to see that his student surpassed him in the art. The prayer beads that Akuma wears originally belonged to Goutetsu. Goutetsu can be seen in Akuma's ending, along with Gouken in the original Street Fighter Alpha. This was his only on-screen appearance in the series. In Street Fighter Alpha Generations, Goutetsu has an important role in the animated movie. He is shown fighting Akuma at the beginning, and is revealed that he has tried in vain to dissuade his student from delving deeper and deeper into the power of the Satsui no Hado. While Goutetsu himself proved able to tap into its power, unlike Akuma, he didn't seem to suffer from its side effects, likely because his more balanced approach and rarer use. Unlike his game appearance, he is depicted as having short hair and a very small stature. In Street Fighter Assassin's Fist, in keeping with his established backstory and depiction, he is shown as the old master of Gouken and Gouki, the original name of Akuma, teaching them the old ways of the Anatsuken to overcome and destroy the opponent, but also preaching about finding balance between the light and the darkness. As Gouki immersed himself in the study of the Satsui no Hado, Goutetsu ordered him to leave the dojo. When Gouki resurfaced as Akuma, Goutetsu challenged him to try and stop him, but was defeated and killed by his former student. He is also depicted as having a niece, Sayaka, who served as a love interest for both Gouken and Akuma. In another variant of Goutetsu's story and origins, Udon Comics released Street Fighter Origins, Akuma, which gives a little more information on the Anatsuken master. It was revealed that Goutetsu had originally a group of students and fighters who were well versed in the Hado. At some point, many of his students, such as Gouki, and his first generation of students were almost possessed by the Satsui no Hado and had to turn into demonic beings and assassins. Eventually, they turned against each other due to the evils that was caused by Gouki. Goutetsu saw the potential threat of what could happen if someone was not able to contain the Dark Hado with light, and sent a group of men to find Gouki and his hiding spots to take him out. During the winter in Japan, he and Retsu found a young Akuma who was badly wounded from a bear attack. He took Akuma back to his dojo to help heal him. As Akuma woke up, he asks him where is he. Goutetsu tells him that he has nowhere to go and that he heard about Gouki, his father's murder. Goutetsu told Akuma that he once trained his father. After a long talk, Goutetsu told Akuma that he would find his brother Gouken. Akuma, however, told him that Gouken did not want to be found, and that Akuma wanted to know all about Anatsuken and its techniques. Many years later, a businessman who hosts tournaments came to Goutetsu's dojo in order to find Akuma. Goutetsu told him where to find Akuma. Later that night, Goutetsu noticed that Akuma was troubled, and he asked him to come inside the dojo to ask him what was wrong. Akuma told him that he wanted to know more about himself, and left the dojo in order to find himself the very next day. Gouken appeared right in front of Goutetsu and his dojo to thank him, and asked him to train him in order to grow stronger as a person, which Goutetsu agreed to. 5 years later, Akuma came back to Goutetsu and the dojo to train again in order for him to become the perfect warrior. Goutetsu told him that he must go into the mountains in order for him to find who he truly is. When Goutetsu was training other young students on the art of Anatsuken, a demonic-looking Akuma under the influence of the Satsui no Hado looked at him with rage. Goutetsu told Akuma to abandon the power, like his father did before it corrupted him completely. Akuma told him that he finally knows about how his father was killed, and tells Goutetsu's time has come. The two engaged in a fight, as Goutetsu told him about how dangerous the Satsui no Hado was if fully embraced, and told him that he cannot stop fighting. He pleads with him to stop, and asks him what he truly wants from this fight, only for Akuma to reply that he wants him to prepare for death. Akuma kicks him in the air with the demon Armageddon, kicking Goutetsu through the dojo roof, killing him. As a sign of gratitude for all the years spent under him, Akuma takes his body to a mat under a tree, and respectfully lies him down. Fun fact, Gouki's name means ox demon. Ox alludes to the strength of Gouken, and demon alludes to Akuma. As stated by fandom, while earlier Street Fighter games made references to Ryu and Ken's master, Gouken made his first illustrated appearance in Street Fighter II, Ryu, Masaomi Kansaki's manga adaptation of Street Fighter II. Since then, Gouken has appeared in several Street Fighter movies and comics, including Udon's Street Fighter line of comics, Akuma's ending in Street Fighter Alpha, and the Street Fighter Alpha Generations movie. Before his illustration in Street Fighter Alpha, Gouken's appearance would differ vastly between media. Gouken himself was based off Shenlong, a character that originated from the infamous English mistranslation of Ryu's win quote from the early versions of the Street Fighter II series, "You must defeat Shenlong to stand a chance," which many speculated was referring to Ryu's master. It was intended to say, "You must defeat my Shoryuken to stand a chance." April Fool's jokes created by EGM in 1992 and 1997 actually provided an appearance for Shenlong, which in turn directly influenced Gouken's current appearance. It should be noted that, prior to Street Fighter IV, Shenlong was actually used as Gouken's Western name in some media, similar to how his brother is referred to as either Akuma or Gouki, depending on the region. Gouken was finally introduced as a playable character in Street Fighter IV, in response to fans demanding Shenlong. One of his obtainable player titles states, aka Shenlong, and one of his win quotes even references the original quote, "You must defeat me to stand a chance." His appearance is similar to the Shinto Kunitsukami Dairi, Sarutaiko, who is considered the oldest of the patron gods of the martial arts in Japan, representative of purification, strength, courage, and is the guardian of the bridge that connects the earth to the heavens. His personality may also be reflective of Morehi Ueshiba, the founder of Aikido, and spiritualist who found enlightenment and spiritual harmony in his later years. It is also said that Gouken and Akuma's design were based on the Nio, or the Gongurikishi, two wrathful statues that guard under a separate temple the entrance of a Japanese Buddhist temple. Each of these statues states a purpose, thus having a meaning in their creation. The right statue that guards the gate of the Buddhist temple is called Misaku Kongo. It is a symbol of overt violence, with its open mouth and baring teeth, holding a mallet ready to protect with ferocity the entrance to the temple. The left statue that guards the temple is called Narian Kongo. This statue symbolizes strength. It can wield a sword or it can be bare-handed. One of its characteristics is that this statue has its mouth closed, demonstrating serenity and power. Gouken is usually depicted as a bearded man who wears Japamala prayer beads on his neck and a karate gi with the kanji mu sewn to the back. It is said that the Japanese and Korean term mu, or Chinese wu, means not have, without, is a key word in Buddhism, especially Zen traditions. As the preceding master of the martial art that Ryu and Ken practice and wield in the series, Gouken is nonetheless the originator and peerless practitioner of the toned-down assassination martial art taught by Goutetsu. As seen in his moveset, Gouken has mastered the martial art to the point that he has grown to create techniques that better suit his own dynamics and philosophies, one that follows the use of both the Hado no Chikara and the power of nothingness for an effective and powerful form of self-defense, rather than the violent and destructive form of the martial art that his brother wields within the Satsui no Hado. This is most significant in his repertoire, spelling and dynamics. Many of their kanji are those with more benevolent and less wrathful interpretations than ones seen in Akuma's, and they are performed in such ways where they are intended for knockout stopping force rather than maiming and severe injury. As stern and serious as he can be, Gouken is nonetheless enthusiastic in the nature of competition, being a spirited and modest good sport at heart. His approach is silent and calm, evocative of Zen principles, and he often shares insightful, if not also blunt and critical, advice and wisdom to that effect. For example, he tells Dan that anger will not help him, fearing it would lead him to a dark place, and he informs DJ that if he is silent, he would be surprised at what he learns. He is on good terms with people like Rose and Dalsum, who share similar ideals and beliefs. Gouken detests Akuma for killing their master, Goutetsu, and embracing the darkness that resides within their arts, instead of seeking a purer form of strength. He also despises Bison for his use of psycho power, believing he endangered the world. The most destructive character in the Street Fighter universe first made his debut on Super Street Fighter II Turbo, Hyperfighting, on December 1992. Akuma's legacy started there, but its character creation was not brought without thought and planning. Akuma's character was sketched and redesigned multiple times by the Japanese-based video game company Capcom, in which the Street Fighter franchise is in. The Capcom team of graphic designers wanted to make sure to have the perfect character to be in the vessel of the Dark Hado. Since not having much success with its drawings, the Street Fighter Capcom found inspiration on the ends of Buddhism. Akuma's design was based on the Nio, or the Gongorigishi, two wrathful statues that guard under a separate temple at the entrance of Japanese Buddhist temples. Each of the statues states a purpose, thus having a meaning in their creation. The right statue that guards the gate of the Buddhist temple is called Mishaku Kongo. It is a symbol of overt violence, with its open mouth and baring teeth, holding a mallet ready to protect with ferocity the entrance to the temple. The left statue that guards the temple is called Narian Kongo. This statue symbolizes strength. It can wield a sword, or it can be barehanded. One of its characteristics is that the statue has its mouth closed, demonstrating serenity and power. The new statue's fierce and threatening look was designed to ward off evil spirits and to keep the temple grounds free of demons and thieves. The irony of the Capcom creators. But nevertheless, we can appreciate the origins of the art and structure of the Street Fighter's Ultimate Fighter. Akuma's fierce looks are just as mean as the arsenal of fighting moves he has in his book. But there is no technique feared by the Street Fighter community, other than his legendary Shungokusatsu, also known as the Wrath of the Raging Demon. The Wrath of the Raging Demon is a very powerful technique taught in the assassination's arts, with any martial art developed with the intention of destroying an opponent. This type of technique was taught by Akuma's trainer, Goutetsu. This technique, when performed, while wielding the Dark Hado power, will be submerged in its killing intent, giving its opponent a series of deadly strikes in an instant. Fighters that had used this technique gave into the powers of the Dark Hado, and eventually became consumed by its power, becoming a violent demonic being. Like, for example, Oni, Akuma's evolution form when he becomes one of the Dark Hado. The only character who could resist this technique without giving in was Akuma's trainer Goutetsu. The interesting aspect of the Wrath of a Raging Demon is that its technique is based on karmic forces obtained from the Dark Hado. Its technique punishes its opponent on the merits of the sins and evil the opponent has marked in his soul. In other words, the damage applied when the Wrath of the Raging Demon is applied is not determined by the strength of Akuma's power. It's determined by the opponent's evilness, hurting its opponent as much as he or she deserves. While being powerful, this technique can only be executed on living life forms that possess a soul. The Wrath of the Raging Demon, when executed, lights up Akuma's back with a red fiery kanji symbol. This symbol on Akuma's back has been the character's trademark design, one who fits full to its persona. But what is the meaning of this symbol? What does it state? The symbol located on Akuma's back is the Japanese kanji called ten, that can also be translated as heaven. This kanji, like in most Japanese writings, can mean plenty of things. It can be translated as day, heaven, or invincibility. The kanji on his back is made to reflect immortality at the rate of power, meaning that when the character 10 appears on its back, it's representing immortality. In old Japanese folklore, Whenever the kanji with the character 10 appears on someone's forehead, it means the person is immortal. Thus Capcom taking the idea of modifying it to fit the symbol on the back of Akuma's guy. Pretty interesting fact, considering that Akuma's style and behavior exceeds the capability of other characters in the Street Fighter universe. Akuma's style of technique is indeed a 10. As promised in the beginning of our video, we have a bonus dark secret about Akuma in the Street Fighter universe. You may wonder how someone with amazing ability and strength gets its energy from. The fact is that Akuma is a great martial artist. He is also indeed a human and needs to feed himself from time to time. But what does a character like Akuma eat? In this prequel film, made by a Capcom-approved fan called Street Fighter Assassin's Fist, we can delve inside Akuma's training regimen when he is exiled from his trainer's dojo. We can see in this short how Akuma uses his Hadouken technique to fish by the lake. By hurling Hadoukens to the lake, he can pick up the unconscious fish that floats on the top, making it an easy meal for Akuma. Hadouken's fishing at its finest. Now, thinking about all the power Akuma expels out of his body, I personally think a couple of fish would not replenish his power and stamina. But at least the guy eats healthy. Maybe that's why he does not need that much food to begin with. But indeed, it's a peculiar fact that makes the character more relatable to his human side. After all, even though he is a strong individual, he is still human. Akuma's character in the Street Fighter universe will always be one of intrigue and mystery. A powerful godlike being in which his only objective is to be the strongest in the world, achieve superhuman strength, power and status, and to rain terror on any challenger that opposes him. Akuma's legacy to push the boundaries of inner power and display it in the battle arena is what makes this character so amazing. Personally, and to most of the viewers, its favorite character in the Street Fighter saga. The Dark Hado Master himself has secrets in his name that fills the very existence of its personality. We have shown the other side of the mysterious character from the Street Fighter verse. Which of these characters is your favorite? Let us know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on new theories and info. Thank you for watching. This has been your Street Fighter host. Welcome to the center stage. Our new Discord server. There you can talk with us, chat about current events going on in Street Fighter, information, theories, and lore. We'll leave the link in the description box below. We want to thank everyone for tuning in and becoming part of this Street Fighter community. We want to thank you for your positive comments towards our channel because it only habilitates us to grow even more. From the Street Fighterverse crew, we thank you.